Okay, in this lecture, I'm going to show you really quick how to navigate the Word worksheet. If we have time, we'll get to the Excel workbook for the beginning of this week. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So we've got the Excel workbook right here, and we've got the Word worksheet right here. Let's see here. And I'm going to go to the top. We've got the learning objectives. There's also YouTube videos that go along with classical, empirical, and subjective probability, intersections, and a YouTube video that goes along with that. And then we've got some definitions. These are grouped together in the way that they are kind of like together. Collectively exhaustive. These are also grouped together. These are grouped together. That's grouped together. Now, what's really important, and I would suggest you do right away, do this right away. Don't wait for it, just right away. Download this Unit 2 formula sheet. We're going to open this up. I worked really hard to put this together for you to make it as pretty as possible. So that way you can have a really good reference to say, hey, this is exactly what he's talking about. We've got all the different rules. We've got some definitions. We've got some formulas. Symbols, so on and so forth. So go ahead and download this and have this ready for yourself. Yeah. And so we've got the Word worksheet, like I said, and just keep on going through. We've got some exercises. Probability of rolling a 4 with 6-sided die is 1 out of 6 or 0.1667. You put the type of probability that it is right here. So you ask yourself, what is this? Is this classical, empirical, or subjective? Make sure that you watch the video first. Probability of winning the lottery, every chance is equal. Come up with your own example. So for instance, if there's a example of classical probability, every single outcome is equally as likely. Empirical probability, it's based on a number of past successes. The subjective probability, there's a lot of other information that's considered. And so then you can come down here, label the following as mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive, independent, or dependent. And looking at this, you've got mutually exclusive right here, collectively exhaustive, independent. And there's a good lecture that really goes over the difference between collectively exhaustive and mutually exclusive. We've already talked about it in the past unit as well. And so make sure that you've got that. And then calculate the probability of A equals 0.3. Did I literally? Oh, I see what this is. This is saying probability of A is 0.3, probability of B is 0.4. And assuming that they are mutually exclusive, in other words, if they're mutually exclusive, they cannot happen at the same time. What is the probability? Now, this is really important. You got probability of A, and then you've got like that little apostrophe right there. Let's see here. If we go to the formula sheet, this is the probability that it's not A. So you see that A apostrophe, probability that it's not A. So the probability that you have A is 0.3. So the probability that it's not A is the complement of 0.3. The probability, and once again, A, union of A and B, and neither A or B. And so that's, and once again, you've got either A or B or both. And this is both A and B. Sorry, I switched that up a little bit. And that's why you want to have this. Okay, so either A or B or both. So it could be A, it could be B, or it could be both A and B. And then this one right here is the probability of A and B together, that intersection, that it has to be both A and B. So what's the probability of A and B? So make sure that you have this nice little handy table right here. We can calculate the following. There are 40 students, 28, da, 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 da. And so event A, there are 40 students, 28 students have a Mac, 12 students have a PC. You randomly choose two students. This means the probability when you see A sub 1, that means the probability that the very first person that you choose has a Mac. This says B sub 1. That's the probability that the very first person that you choose has a PC. This right here says the probability that the second person, what is the probability that the second person that you choose has a Mac, given that line right there says, given that the first person has a PC. And then right here, what's the probability that the first person has a PC, and what's the probability that the second person has a Mac, given that the first person has a PC? And so just keep on going through those and you'll do well. And then you go to Excel workbook 2-1-1. And I'll open that up really quick. We've got 2-1-1. Make a pivot table for positions. So we come over here and we see, okay, positions. So we're just going to go ahead and make a pivot table. So I'm going to highlight this whole big old thing. Then I'm going to do insert, pivot table. Okay, we've got this pivot table and I want it into an existing worksheet. I click on location, 2-1. And so where do I want this? I think I want it right here. Press OK. And then I'm going to put position. So it goes in rows and then values. So we also have rows and values. And so make a pivot table for position. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do insert pivot table, existing workbook, and it's highlighting that whole thing again. And we're going to put it right here. And we're going to make this one for games played. Games played. So it goes right there, goes right there. Now, this is really important because it says sum of games played. You don't want sum of games played. For games played, you want count of games played. Okay, so I'm going to, you can do this a couple ways. You can do value field setting right here. You can go, let's see here. I'm going to right click on this and do show values as, or summarize values as count. Okay. So there are 10 people who played 38 games, 15 people who played 37 games, so on and so forth. And so you're going to, for games played, group the games starting at 1 with a width of 5. And so you're going to group this, and there's all this right over here that'll show you how to do it as well. So just follow these steps for number 3. So you go right here, and then you do, let's see here, group starting at 1 and grouping by 5, and then it'll group it all together for you, and then you can start analyzing it. And yeah, right here it says make sure that you always summarize by count, then do a relative frequency table, and this gives you a let's see, to do a relative frequency table, what you need to do is drag games played down into values again. Okay, and then do a right click and then summarize values by, show values as percent of column total, percent of column total. And so this will give you the relative frequency, relative frequency. Okay. So you can put, and I say here, instead of doing relative frequency is for descriptive statistics. For what we're doing, we're actually doing probability. And more specifically, this is empirical probability. Because what we're saying is based on past experience, this is what it's going to be, okay? Then be ready to tell me, like, be able to interpret this on your quiz, okay? While we're here, let's go ahead and just look at this Excel as well. 31 out of 61 players are guards, 24 out of 61 players are from Texas. What's the probability of a student being a guard from Texas? When you do this, just look at these two, don't look at anything else. And so you're going to want to calculate the probability of this, calculate the probability of this, and then calculate the probability of both of them together. So the women's basketball team has 3 different jersey options. 4 different short options. How many different options do you have? Make sure that you watch the videos. You can use these formulas, combination and permutation formula, um, for everything below. So Coach Mulkey has to put a team on the court. There are 5 players on each position, and it cannot be random. Order matters. How many possible groups of 5 can she put on the court in the following years? So in 2014, 2015, she has 11 players, but you can only choose 5 at a time. In 2015, 2016, she has 13 players, but you can only choose 5 at a time. 13 players, but you can only choose 5 at a time. 12 players, and so on and so forth. And it cannot be random, so order matters. So make sure that you know what that means. And then next, Coach Mulkey always sends 2 random players for the coin flip each time. How many players, how many possible groups of 2 can she send? Okay, so do the same thing, and you can use these formulas as well. I would encourage you to do so. And then what is the probability of Lauren Cox and Juicy Landom randomly being chosen together in the 2018-19 season for a given coin flip? Okay. And there's a little hint right there. So that's how you do the Excel. And then the principles worksheet. We've got this fun little, going down here, it talks about the permutation, the combination formula, gives you some exercises. I have 20 golf clubs, but I can only choose 14 at a time. How many different arrangements of golf clubs can I carry? And then 8 people compete in a running race, and the top 3 are 1, 2, and 3. How many different ways can the competitors be? And so just keep going through here, figure out which one you're going to use: multiplication, permutation, or combination. And then now that you've determined the appropriate, compute the answers for each question. So first you're doing which one should you use, and then give me the actual answers. And then right down here, there's more information on the combination and permutation formula. Okay. And that's how you do 2-1 and 2-1-1 and 2-1-2. So really not too heavy this week, but make sure that you spend a lot of time really thoroughly understanding what it is that you're doing, understanding the terms with probability, the unions, the intersections, the complement rule. There's once again lots of vocab. And coming back here, let's see here, unit 2, and so you've got the quiz right here, another quiz right here. Make sure that you watch the lectures and that you thoroughly understand what's going on. And if I can be really honest with you, this week is kind of light. So there's, if you wanted to, you could probably keep going on to unit 2 dash week 2 if you wanted to, and just get ahead if you have time. But it's all there. So it's up to you if you want to keep moving forward. Cool. That's all I got for today.